What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rovardo, joined by no co-host, just doing a film breakdown by my lonesome today. And as you guys can see, we're talking about the New York Giants' new quarterback. They drafted 25th overall in the first round of this year's draft. Yes, Ole Miss signal caller, Jaxson Dart. We're going to be breaking down one game of film in total on this film breakdown. So we're going to watch one game from start to finish, go through the good, bad, and the ugly, the mundane, the exciting, the in between, all of it on this breakdown. We're going to be looking at Jaxson Dart versus LSU from this past 2024 season. This is a game where he had some ups, he had some downs, he battled through some adversity, and there's a lot of people who have some takes on his performance in this game. So we're going to try and sift through those takes, and we're going to watch the film and just take a look at it using the screen brush that I have that I know that you guys like, where I'll draw, here's the play, here's the design, all that stuff. We're going to go through and we're going to try and see what we can take away from this New York Giants new quarterback that we can apply to the future and our knowledge of Jaxson Dart as a player. So a couple things that I will say before we dive into this film. You're going to see some really great deep balls. You're going to see some shoddy play under pressure. And you're going to see, of course, some of the flaws that we've discussed where he doesn't go through progression sometimes, maybe gets a little antsy in the pocket, and maybe doesn't have an expanded play call that he's asked or playbook that he's asked to call and asked to play in. So you're going to see all of it. It's when you really watch the All-22 from start to finish on specific games, you see everything in total. Like you see the good, the bad, and the ugly, as I've said, and you'll pick up on tendencies of the play caller. So anyway, I don't want to spoil too much of it before we get into it. I have watched this game before, but we haven't broken it down yet on the channel, and it's one that I see referenced. This is a matchup, Ole Miss versus LSU. I see referenced a lot in conversations between Giants fans and definitely in the comment sections of certain Fireside Giants episodes. So want to go ahead and just break down this one game from start to finish and see what we can take away from it for New York Giants' new rookie quarterback, Jaxson Dart. So without further ado, let's waste no more time. Quick 2.5-minute intro. Let's go ahead and dive right into the film. All right, so before we officially dive into this film, I want to give you guys some context on the game that we're about to break down. And this was a loss for Ole Miss. This was a game where they had the lead for the majority of the game, but ultimately ended up losing to LSU in overtime with a final score of 29-26. Game-winning touchdown reception from the late, great Kyron Lacy, rest in peace. But in this game, Jaxson Dart threw for 284 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, completing just 24 passes on 42 total attempts. So we got 42 passing attempts to get through on this film. So we won't waste any more time. There's the context on the game and what you can expect from this performance. Again, it was an up and down game from Jaxson Dart. And in fact, I will also pull up some of his PFF stats from this game so we can get an even closer analytical look at what he was able to accomplish and where he might have went wrong in this matchup. But again, don't want to waste too much time. We will dive right into the film and then just have some takeaways on some of these plays. Yeah, so just to continue to dive into this breakdown with even greater efficiency, here is Jaxson Dart's game-by-game stats from Pro Football Focus through the 2024 season. And as you can see, I highlighted it there. The lowest graded game for the season was this matchup against Ole Miss. Again, the 1 touchdown, 1 interception, only a 57% completion rate. 2 big-time throws is great. However, a 7.7% turnover-worthy play rate with 4 turnover-worthy plays in total. Not too great. There is a big drop that maybe could have changed the course of the game, and I know which drop that is, and we'll talk about that in literally just a second here. But overall, not the best performance from Jaxson Dart, and I think that's important because we've looked at a lot of great with Jaxson Dart, but there's been a lot of questions about why can't he start in week 1 or in year 1? Like, what is it that makes him a project? And I want to look at this game so we can see the good, the bad, and the ugly, as I've said. And we're going to go ahead and just dive right into the film right now and break it all down. All right, let's go ahead with this first play of the game. First play from scrimmage for Jaxson Dart. And Lane Kiffin fires up a perfect deep shot for Dart, and he hits this one on the money, and ultimately it's dropped. So off the bat, what we're going to see here, first and foremost, play action. You're going to see plenty of that, as we've seen in previous Jaxson Dart film breakdowns. Lots of play action. As you guys know, we've done 2 Jaxson Dart film breakdowns on the channel. We did that well before he was even close to being drafted by the Giants. we were locked into him throughout the pre-draft process. But essentially, what you're going to see here with that play action is a little bit of a suck in from a couple of these guys. They're going to cheat, and that's going to open some things up over top for Jaxson Dart. And he's going to be reading, of course, the deep portion of the field and these safeties. Let's go ahead and back this thing up once again and see where these safeties line up and how Jaxson Dart's able to attack it. So what you're going to see here is a too high safety look. You're assuming that it's a cover 2. Maybe it's some sort of a cover 4. You'll see that more post snap, but cover 2, cover 4 has a pretty similar shell with those 2 deep safeties. Of course, as you know, with the 2 deep safeties, usually they kind of spread out and you get in middle of the field open. Or if it is cover 4 and, you've got 4 deep men here, then sometimes you got to throw it past them or in between them, and you can have some really tricky throws to make there. But let's see what Jaxson Dart ultimately gets. And what he gets is just a busted coverage. There was clearly some sort of communication between miscommunication, between these 2 defensive backs. And now you've got a wide receiver running free downfield. So essentially all Lane Kiffin drew up was a deep post and the go. And that go ends up breaking open because of the confusion between these 2 defensive backs. And what I love about this, you'll see Jaxson Dart, he reads this, and as soon as he sees this receiver has a step, there he goes. He pulls the trigger, and he gets the ball out. It's really right on the money. This should have been caught. This probably should have been a touchdown. And what I'll say about this, Jaxson Dart, Malik Neighbors catches that. So you're going to have touchdowns in the future. Don't worry. Stay patient. They're coming, and it's going to be fun. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to this next play, though, and see what goes down. Yeah, and I saw this clip earlier as well when I was skimming through, and this was actually a throw that I was really impressed by. And what I want people to see here is, first of all, it's a very clean pocket. We'll give credit to the offensive lineman for doing a good job. The center as well. As you guys, if you didn't hear, the center, I'm blanking on his name, but he is visiting with the New York Giants on an undrafted rookie minicamp. So that's something to take note of as well. What I really like about this throw, though, from Jaxson Dart, he is drifting to the left in the pocket to give himself some space and a clean area to throw from, and he's throwing more to the right. So drifting left, throwing right, still putting velocity on it and putting it on the money. And again, I want to take a look at it from this angle as well, because you're getting kind of like a crossing route pattern from the slot receiver. And again, 2 deep safeties and a wide open with these 2 deep safeties in this cover 2 shell. You get wide open space in the middle of the field. And so now you just see back to the football. Now you got to throw with anticipation, knowing that this guy's not in your throwing lane because his back is to you. Let's go ahead and fit it in that little hole that we have and see if we can lay it in there. And it's a layered throw. And I like that it's low. Somebody might say, oh, it's a little inaccurate. Receiver had to dive for it. Well, if it's high or if it's, leading him too far inside or outside, one of those 3 defenders in the area might have a chance to make a play. So I actually really like the placement of this throw. And once again, I do like the fact that Jaxson Dart actually goes through progressions here too. He looks off the safety. You see the safety absolutely dart this way, no pun intended, as soon as the play begins. Well, why does he do that? Look at Jaxson Dart's eyes. Dart stares down the right side of the field, and LSU's probably like, oh, he usually throws to his first read, so let me cheat over there. Cheats over that way, and then he gets to the second read. He looks off this safety and creates that open space in the middle of the field and delivers a very accurate throw. So good play there from Jaxson Dart. 2 good plays to start out the game. Yeah, and here's one where I feel as though he probably got a little trigger happy, got a little too aggressive here, and threw up ultimately a bad ball while under pressure. And that is going to be something that you're going to see a lot of for Jaxson Dart is when the pressure comes, how does he respond? Sometimes a little bit panicky. So once again, you've got a shell where you have 2 deep safeties. It looks like it could be a sort of zone coverage where these guys are going to play in these flats. I'd say zone because this defender is not man aligned. He is a little bit more aligned with the formation instead. So it looks like it's a zone coverage. We'll see what it drops into. And wow, is that the tight end just falling in the middle of the field? What happened here? Oh, that's illegal contact downfield, actually. But anyway, it looks like it was going to be cover 2 pre-snap. It doesn't end up being a cover 2. There is no open middle of the field here, and I think that's what Jaxson Dart got tripped up for. This guy doesn't bail and play here. This guy doesn't play flat. Instead, they all go together downfield. Looks like it's a man coverage here, actually, and I don't think Jaxson Dart was anticipating that. So once this tight end fell, well, now you're a little bit crowded. So I think really what happened, like I said, just got a little bit panicky under pressure in this one and ended up throwing an errant pass into a covered man because it was not the zone coverage he expected. And low key, maybe that should have been caught. I don't know. Tough catch, if anything. I think that's Antoine Wells Jr. as well, who the Giants did sign as a UDFA. This play I do like. These are little this is a real collegiate play design is what you're going to see here. Just to get this slip screen. LSU doesn't fall for it at all. But what I will say is I do think Jaxson Dart was pretty calm under pressure here to step up and get away from that incoming blitzer. There's a free rusher right there. Obviously, that's your alert. And Jaxson Dart was alert. He was alerted that number 4 is coming through pretty much untouched. And he steps up and he buys himself a little extra time and some space. So good pocket presence there. And these timing routes are going to be a frequent occurrence here in this Ole Miss offense, as we've seen before, and they're a frequent occurrence in Brian Daboll's offense. How many times have I used the example where I say, well, the Giants last year had a lot of plays where they threw the ball within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they only got 2-yard gains because the ball wasn't on time and the receiver was tackled immediately. Rather than throwing the ball, as soon as the receiver breaks, he has time to turn upfield. And what I'll say is I think that this ball, you see Jaxson Darts already began his throwing motion, while the receiver is cutting back to the ball. It's on time. And hey, he picks up an extra 2 yards after the catch falls forward with that nice stiff arm. So a lot of zip on Dart's passes and good timing there. And you'll see with those quick passing concepts, he does a pretty good job. Another slip screen. I don't know how much we're going to learn about Dart with that. See this next play, little misdirection. Yeah, these quarterback runs that they ran with Dart last season. I know obviously everybody's been talking about that Gruden video where Jaxson Dart spoke with John Gruden for Barstool, and they're talking about how he took a lot of hits. Well, a lot of hits were invited to him from the Ole Miss play calling from Lane Kiffin because they do run a lot of these weird little like misdirects where all of a sudden Jaxson Dart is running in between the tackles. And I can just say I don't think that Brian Daboll is going to call too many of those plays. Got to protect your quarterback, especially at the NFL level. All right, on this next play in the red zone, let's see what they dial up and how Jaxson Dart is able to perform here. So there is a pretty clear and obvious holding from the offensive line here. I think that we're seeing a really good display, though, from Jaxson Dart in terms of his mobility and ability to make plays as a runner. But what you'll see here, pressure comes through pretty quickly. I do think Jaxson Dart senses it rather quickly as well and is able to bail and get out of it. Like I said, though, this was a pretty clear and obvious holding, and the ref does throw the flag. But I do like Dart's ability to escape. And obviously, he's got a choice here with all of this kind of room out in front of him, this kind of path here. But obviously, there's some defenders who are going to meet him in that path. He has a choice. Do I run up here and slide, or do I go make a play? And what I really like about Jaxson Dart is that he is going to go make the play, make a man miss, make another man try and miss and fall forward. Obviously, we'll have some debates about that as Giants fans. Should he be doing that? Is that going to be an issue? Is he going to get hurt? Whatever. But, on a play like this, he does a pretty good job of protecting his body as well while also picking up some yardage. Ultimately didn't count due to the penalty. Next play here, quick, easy read underneath. I just want to see if there was anything else open over top. No, and I really like this play. So this is kind of like it's kind of just clear outs all across the board, right? Because you're going to have basically verticals. You're just going to attack the high portion of the field. And then on the backside, you're just going to have this little drag route. And what is that going to do? Well, it's going to cause all of these defenders to kind of push back, gain a cushion for this receiver to run into wide open space and then create yards after the catch. I really like play designs like this. They especially work at the collegiate level, do work at the NFL level also. But if there is one thing that I'll say, I think this ball probably could have been out a little bit quicker for Dart. I'm not sure. I think that as soon as this receiver clears this linebacker here, he turns his head around. He's looking for the ball. Linebacker's got space on him. I would try and hit him in stride so that he can maybe turn up, make one of these guys miss. Instead, he gets the ball quite a bit later. He's waiting on it. So got to get the ball out quicker in that regard. So I know I'm contradicting earlier. I said he gets the ball out usually pretty quick on these short concepts. Well, in this one, just took him a little second longer. Not exactly sure why. And I think that there was some meat left on the bone there because of that. I think we could have gotten some more yards after catch. All right, so I'm going to say this. He took a sack here. I think this is probably a good thing that he took a sack because where he was looking to throw this ball, as you see, he cocked back to throw, and he was about to throw this thing. Yeah, he saw defenders back to the football. You know, you could throw that with anticipation. This safety was all over that. This safety was also over that. This would have taken the greatest throw ever. I'm glad that he pulled this one down. Now, obviously, he should know, okay, I've got a check down route. If that's not there, this route that I want, I need to immediately try and hit this flat route. Doesn't do that. Pressure comes to him. He's under pressure quite a bit on these last few reps that we've seen. And so ultimately, he ends up just taking the sack. But again, I'd rather take the sack than throw it into triple coverage. The problem, though, being when he does pull this thing down, he starts to scramble to his left and doesn't see the open man still in the flat. This is a pretty large cushion, nearly 10 yards of space. Can definitely flip that out to your playmaker. And what we're going to see from the tight angle as well is kind of an oblivious nature here against this pass rush. So obviously tackle clears and Dart tries to scramble left and never really looks back, doesn't sense the pressure behind him, and ultimately runs into the sack and takes a kind of nasty blindside hit. Fumbles the ball for a second there too, but recovers it. So definitely need a little bit more pocket presence and awareness in that regard. And also, like I said, when your first option's not there, know where the check down is, got to hit that. So a couple negatives on that particular play as well. Next play here, once again, getting some play action. Just a two-man route concept that they're dialing up to get a deep shot, and Jaxson Dart does absolutely connect on a really good deep throw here, very far downfield. So what we're going to get, like I said, two-man route concept, you're going to get a big post, and you're going to get a kind of deep crosser and over. And so that is one of those concepts that we've talked about quite a bit. It's called the Yankee. And what Yankee is meant to do is put a lot of pressure and stress on a single high safety. So what you're getting here is a cover three, right? You've got 1, 2, 3 deep. And what you're trying to do is attack that one safety. And so what you're going to see is the post route and the crossing route are going to force the safety to say, hey, am I bailing deep and taking away the post, or am I biting down short and taking away the crosser? And ultimately, he sits a little low on this crosser, and Jaxson Dart is able to go ahead and hit it over the top to the deep post route. So it's called the Yankee concept, and it's really a one read. You've got two receivers to throw to, and you've just got to read that one safety. But Dart does a good job here, holds that safety in the middle of the field with his eyes, reads the safety as he bites down on the crosser, and goes ahead, does the right thing, hits the post. So a good throw and rather accurate throw because there was a little bit of a trail man there as well. Puts his all into it. Ball probably travels, what is that, a good 10, 20, a good 50 yards, maybe 55, since he was pretty far behind the line of scrimmage. So good throw, had good velocity on it. I don't think it was hanging up there too long either. Yeah, very accurate. So yeah, one thing that I love about Jaxson Dart is his aggression throwing downfield. Like, I obviously criticized that one throw that was errant a couple plays ago when he was under pressure, but I do like the fact that he ripped it. I like the fact that he looked deep and threw deep, and I do really like how accurate he is as a deep passer. Once again, another one of these plays, it's a quarterback draw up the middle. I'm just not crazy about these calls. I just don't think that they're going to hurt. They're going to help Dart in the NFL level, that's for sure. I don't think that they'll be running those with Dart, so here we've got a good play where Dart's doing something that maybe he's criticized of not doing well enough, picking up some extra yards on the ground there. But what I really like is his ability to fight through some contact in the pocket. Real messy pocket here. Offensive line breaking down once again. I do think, though, on this play, they're once again running a little bit of a two-man route concept. You had this slot receiver, you had this outside receiver running the over. You had the slot receiver running this way. So it's kind of like a smash concept on the corner and the, and the curl or hitch, whatever. But it's a three-man route concept because they're holding this guy here with this wide running back on the swing route in the flat. And I think Dart looks at this, sees a lot of bunch up here, doesn't see good leverage here, sees this cornerback could take this away as well, and doesn't throw it to route 3. So I think that, again, we do see him make the first read and read the field well a lot of the times on that first read. But once again, you've got that swing route. That's your check down. I think that ball should go there. Now, again, he does a good job getting through this messy pocket and then picking up some yardage at the end, albeit he takes a hit at the end, and that's not something that we want to see either. So definitely, like I've said, plenty to clean up. But here, like I said, Dart reading this, recognizing, okay, my 2 routes that I have are not open, but also not recognizing maybe my swing pass and check down is open. So again, needs to learn how to take the check downs, 2 hands on the football in the pocket. That's good. And yeah, picking up some yards, but also fighting contact from a linebacker to do it. Something to clean up, as Gruden told him. All right, they're dialing up another deep shot. He's forcing this one into coverage. There's really nobody open. I'll call this a good play by the defense. I think this is just really good coverage, to be completely honest. It's man coverage as well on this receiver that he ends up targeting. Cornerback went with him step by step. It's just a cover 2 man. You've got 2 deep safeties and man coverage across the board. And you know what? This guy's locked down. This guy's double teamed. All you can do is really just try and force it or take the sack. And I don't mind the fact that Dart trusted his arm and tried to whip it in there, and ultimately it falls incomplete. But I do like the attempt, a little risky, but I think it's better than just taking the sack in that situation. All right, so right here, once again, we're going to see him throw to one of these short route concepts. I think the reason this ball doesn't come out sooner is because he's reading a little bit deeper downfield. I think he's got a couple of routes in that area that he's looking for, but ultimately, I'll say good recognition here. We just talked about how he wasn't finding his checkdowns. He finds it this time because free blitz are coming in, more pressure off the edge. So he knows, okay, where's my alert? I got to get this ball out quick and get it to my alert. That ends up being this route right here. And so he makes that throw right before getting hit. I actually think this is a pretty good play where you do see some pretty good processing from Jaxson Dart, reading the deep field. Okay, wait, pressure's coming. Let me take my alert down, my check down, and just pick up some yards. So good play there from Jaxson Dart. Yeah, another one of these runs up the middle, and a really good run there from Jaxson Dart. He is a weapon with the ball in his hands. I think that people should recognize that. Is he like an elite weapon, like a Josh Allen weapon? If we want to go back into the Dable Josh Allen connection, probably not. But I mean, the kid can move, and he's got some pretty good vision as a runner as well. Like, this is a pretty intricate design here where you've got 3 lead blockers, 2 pulling offensive linemen, and then a really great block there by Caden Prescorn, the tight end, to seal off and wall off that defender, and a good block here from the offensive lineman. And now Dart is really just turning into a running back on this play. So let's go ahead and make a man miss and fall forward. Really like that play design for sure, and really like the mobility that Jaxson Dart provides. So once again, I think a little too aggressive here, taking some deep shots that you don't need to take. They're running that exact same route concept, the Yankee route concept here, except this time it is completely covered. So once again, this is the deep post, and then this is the deep crosser. The yardages on my screen brush there were a little off, but you'll see as it unlocks or as it zooms out, it's just covered. Like, you've got this safety. This is one-on-one, but the safety's there, and safety took the deep route, so this ball shouldn't have been thrown, but they just had another guy sitting on the other route. So this is where you need to know where your checkdowns are, and you need to hit them. You need to get to those checkdowns. That checkdown might be read 3, might be read 4, but, I mean, what's stopping you from giving up on this one with that deep safety rotating over? I have to see that. I just don't think he does. Oops, don't know how I did that. I just don't think he does see that, because I think he's kind of staring down this one receiver. But if he would have recognized, all right, this is doubled, get it off to this guy real quick. Yeah, there's 2 guys there, but maybe he falls forward, picks up about 5 yards. So I think he just locked in there, got a little too aggressive. And once again, you're seeing arm strength, though. That ball absolutely flew out of his hand. A really good tackle there, but once again, I am going to highlight how quickly he got the ball out of his hands rather than really holding that play fake on this RPO. He just gets it out as soon as he can, and that ball is there for the receiver as the receiver's turning around. It's already in the air. So I'll say good timing on this one, just a really good tackle. And you know what? I think on a play like this, guys, we're projecting him as the Giants quarterback, right? I think Malik Neighbors might make this guy miss and might have the entire sideline to work with because the ball was on time on this play. It actually reminds me a lot of the play call that they had when Drew Lock hit Malik Neighbors and he took it to the house against the Colts. So, again, another play where he's taking that first read and he's hitting it on time. Not too much to write home about there, but another good play. There you go, some more RPOs where the ball is coming out quick and easy and on time, and do like his ability to just quick trigger release. Doesn't need to take too long to get set. More play action. Nobody's open. Try and make something happen, but I would like if he tried to make something happen without taking such big hits. And he's clearly looking at this seam route right here, but it's taken away by this safety. It's double teamed here. He was looking up the seam. And then I do think everybody else was unfortunately covered. This guy's especially covered. Looks like he's about to get thrown out of bounds. And yeah, he just kind of gives up on the play and tries to make something happen. But, maybe avoid the contact, as we've said. Next play here, and see, this is a good example of it. You get the ball out on time right as the receiver's breaking, and now he's in stride. He makes a man miss, and he picks up an extra 3 yards. So I really like that. It's really clean footwork as well from Dart here. Look, just gets into his base, makes a quick throw, and a lot of arm strength on that one as well. Real great velocity here. So really like when he throws in rhythm. I think he's got really clean mechanics when he's throwing in rhythm. And I do think he's really on time on a lot of these screens, these slants, and stuff like that. Create some yards after the catch opportunities. All right, late slide there. At least he slid. Still takes a little bit of a hit because of the late slide. But you know what? We will commend him for at least getting down, although he needs to get down a little bit sooner. Yeah, another one of these runs where they've run him into traffic. You won't see the Giants do that. I can guarantee it. And that's a touchdown. That's a great throw and a great catch. Really great catch, I'll say. Really like this play here in the red zone. And once again, this is going to be one of those plays that I bring up the A word, anticipation. So you've got this seam route here from the slot receiver. And this linebacker is not going to play deep. He's not going to get behind this receiver. He's going to stay underneath and try to undercut it. And what that's going to do is allow that receiver to roll over. And now quarterback recognizes, all right, linebacker's back is to the football. I'm going to throw this back shoulder and let my guy make a play, and make a play he does. I also want to recognize when he throws this ball. He throws it now as soon as that receiver makes that break there at the top of the route, a little shimmy, and then he goes and ball's back shoulder, and it's where only the receiver can get it because the linebacker had his back to the football. So really good anticipation there. That's kind of something that the Giants offense hasn't had, is a guy who recognizes linebacker's back is to the football. Let's go ahead and put this thing back shoulder and allow my guy to go up there and make a play. And here you go. Now we talked about it. Jaxson Dart having a little bit of trouble finding his checkdowns on this one. He's very deliberate in finding his checkdown, actually looking around for it. You could see him scanning, finding the checkdown, and giving his guy an ability to pick up some yards with his legs after a quick throw and an easy catch. So gotta love the checkdowns. This one, I think he's a little late getting to wherever he's trying to go. This is really a leverage thing. When the linebacker is playing leverage like that, you're not going to be able to get this route open. And so I think that this is where the ball should have gone, again, trying to get through those reads. But you have to read the leverage of this linebacker. He's giving outside. This receiver's running an in-breaking route. You're going to try and force this. You're going to force it into trouble. So you got to look off that one, and you got to get to the other half of the field and see what's open. And as you see, they're kind of setting this up. Little buffer here. You can get it to this running back and allow him to create some yardage up the sideline on his own. Instead, pressure gets to Dart. He forces this one, and it goes incomplete because the receiver is completely blanketed. So yeah, once that pressure comes, I mean, he gets a little statue there. I would like to see him shift and reset and go find his other read. Once again, a good throw on time and on target. Really like Dart on these slants. As soon as that receiver's breaking, that ball is being thrown in stride and a good catch. And once again, with some NFL receivers on these plays, like Neighbors, these absolutely could be some big plays with some big yards after the catch opportunities. We're about halfway through this film. Next play here. Once again, I've been making this point and I'm going to keep making it. Really like his timing on these quick passes. I think this is really, really well done. He's already throwing the ball and the receiver hasn't even turned around yet. Now, as soon as the receiver's turned around, the ball is in the air. And as soon as he's finished with his break, he's got an opportunity to catch it and turn upfield. Don't think he's got the greatest yak weapons out here at Ole Miss. But you know what? Again, I've said this, Malik Neighbors is going to make some more yards out of a play like that because the ball is on time and does give him an opportunity to create some yards after the catch. All right, this one, I think he's forcing it a little bit, but you know what? I just think maybe a back shoulder throw would have been better here. I don't know if I think this is a little bit more not on the same page with the receiver, but you've got single high here, so you've got one-on-ones on the outside. I actually think that he should have looked this one off because of the amount of space between these two. The cornerback has the leverage here, sitting on top of this route. I think this is actually the throw if you're going to make one of them. It looks like that receiver might have had a step potentially. Yes, he did. So I would have looked to that one instead. This is completely covered. I mean, this receiver is not stacked on top of the cornerback at all. The cornerback is completely stacked on the receiver. Meanwhile, this receiver's starting to stack. This should have been the throw. That could have been a touchdown had he looked to his other deep shot. But instead, he goes to this one, falls incomplete. Receiver just never got himself open, unfortunately. Pressure was coming, though, so maybe that kind of sped up his processing and forced him to make the first throw rather than getting to the second one. Totally possible. Another check down. We do like to see Dart check down. And this is probably exactly why I'm going to keep making this point about timing on these quick passes, because if this ball is a tick late, this cornerback is so well covering this receiver that he's going to be able to make a play on the ball. But because of the timing on this throw, this ball gets there before the cornerback ever has a chance to make the play. The timing is so important. And again, how many times over the past several years have we watched Giants receivers run a route like this, turn around, wait for the ball? Now the ball has come, and now I'm completely covered. Instead, you see Dart here with really good timing on this throw. Look at when he's throwing it. Receiver is only now starting to make his break. Look at when the receiver's finally turned around. The ball is on the way. Now the cornerback is recovering. And yeah, he makes a good play on the ball, but because the ball came in so quickly, it's a first down. Really, really good throw, really good timing. And again, I just can't stress how important it is and how I think game-changing that's going to be for the Giants offense, that they're going to have quarterbacks now, because I think Russell Wilson and Jaxson Dart both throw with really good timing on the short portions of the field. So very important stuff, and really looking forward to seeing some timing routes between Dart and Neighbors one day. I'll call this one a coverage sack. Not even the check down's open. Everybody's locked up on this one. Maybe you've got some leverage here if you make a good throw, but obviously he's pressured and he takes a sack. I wonder if there was a fumble in here. The only fumbles in this game. I don't know if this is it. Yes, it is. So, got to have a little bit more awareness. I do think that sometimes Dart is a little unaware in the pocket. Sometimes doesn't sense the pressure. I think he gets a little locked in on what he's trying to look at downfield and see these receivers. And yeah, we were right. This definitely could have been an open receiver, could have gotten this ball to this receiver with a little bit more time and protection. And I think that's what Dart was looking at, and unfortunately didn't sense the pressure as a result. This play, ballsy, pressure coming in, gets the throw off, gets it into the vicinity of a receiver. I'm not going to knock him there. Living to see another down by throwing the ball away and making something happen. We won't kill him for that one. A lot of pressure coming in, and it's definitely been affecting Dart. And say, hey, here we go. So once again, running a bunch of these routes downfield. They've got 4 receivers running routes downfield, but you know what? They're all bunched up and they're all covered. So what's he going to do? He's going to take his check down knowing, all right, this defender who could have been a flat defender but ultimately wasn't, right? So they were reading this. Is it a cover 2? If it were, you would have this defender sit here, and then you would have a pocket of space right here for whoever one of these guys is running into this zone space. Instead, this cornerback bails, and so Dart sees that and recognizes, okay, my swing route is now uncovered because there's nobody holding that flat portion of the field. So pretty well done. There was a man. The linebacker was in man coverage on the running back, but again, it wasn't the zone that he expected, so there ended up being a pocket of space to throw into in that flat. Good job to recognize and take the check down once again. Really, really good throw here. Like this one a lot. Really like this play design as well. It's a little bit of a levels, like you've got one in and then you've got the in behind it, which is called levels, but they also do a really good job because it's a little bit more receiver runs it as a crosser, but you've also got this backside drag as well. So then it becomes basically a mesh concept, which is going to have a bunch of these defenders running on into each other over the middle of the field and freeing up some space at the second level. And a really good throw here from Jaxson Dart to layer it over the defender and give his receiver an opportunity to pick up some yards. Really do like that he is scanning the field on this. Like a lot of people say that he's one read, but you know what? I see him scanning the left side. I see him scanning the right side, and I see him making it back across the middle of the field and a pretty well thrown ball. So liking a lot of what I'm seeing from Dart, even though this hasn't been his best game. He's definitely had some turnover worthy plays. And obviously there's still 5 more minutes of film, so we'll see. But there is still some good on here. There's some good, there's some ugly, there's some great, it's all of it. Man, he takes a shot here, huh? Blind side just gets kind of lit up right in the shoulder. Non-throwing shoulder, of course, but definitely takes a whack there. And can't knock the kid's toughness. That we can all agree. Jaxson Dart is one tough SOB, as John Gruden said. Yeah, and I think he's taking a couple too many hits now, and I think the pressure is definitely starting to get to him. Not that there's really anybody open. Had he had more protection, I do think there's, safety running this way. I think obviously this linebacker's taking this route away. This probably could have been a touchdown, but unfortunately, the protection doesn't hold up. Too much pressure, and ball falls incomplete. He sees it too. He tries to get it there. He's trying to throw it to that receiver. So he's reading the field while he's recognizing it. But yeah, unfortunately, not good enough protection. Here, I feel like there's a hesitancy from Dart. They've got 3 routes. That's all they're running. They're pretty much max protecting. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocked, and then 3 routes. One-on-ones. And I think there might have been something here, but I don't know. You don't really want to see your quarterback take a sack with a 7-man protection. But then again, you also don't want to see a wide open defender blitzing in like this with a 7-man protection. What are we doing? This offensive tackle is, what are we doing? You're just letting him go right by. Anyway, I think Dart maybe could have, I don't know. I am actually not going to blame him for this one. This is, again, just another blown protection. So kind of tough when your offensive line isn't helping you out. But how do you respond? Can you stand in there? Offensive line hasn't been making plays. Can you make the plays? And yes, this is a really, really good throw against a man coverage look here. Cornerback is giving some outside leverage. So, boom, going to take this out route. And he's going to hit it on time, and he's going to hit it with some accuracy. So, good throw there. Yeah, see, as soon as that receiver breaks, that ball is coming out. He does look like he's kind of leaning back as he's throwing it. I think probably trying to get some height on it from this defender who's coming in to try and bat it down. Also, maybe because the pressure's getting to him. I don't know, but a really good throw there. Another one of these that's on time. Looks good to me. Really like the footwork on that throw. Quick drop and throw. Good throw there. Really great play design as well to draw all these defenders inside the box and then just sneak a receiver behind them. Really, really like this play design. Just kind of like a sneaky crosser. You're going to create all this misdirection. It's basically just kind of like running verticals, right? Like wheel, seam, and then kind of like a crosser post kind of deal. And then, yeah, you've got actually a couple guys break open here. It's trying to attack the single eye safety and see where he goes. And Dart's going to layer this thing in here. He maybe even could have taken this one up the sideline, but I think the safety's breaking that way because Dart's already throwing the ball, which is a good thing. It means he's getting it out on time. But a really accurate ball there as well. So good play. Nice. Layering that over the defender is always nice to see. Looks like he's picked off on this one. Once again, they're kind of running verticals, basically. Just go, post, and kind of get a little jumbled up. Not really crazy about the spacing of these routes at all. I mean, this receiver's definitely got a step, but this safety's covering this receiver, and this receiver's running into this slot receiver zone. I mean, kind of just brings his man over here and makes it much tougher. I think Dart probably underthrew this one anyway, though, but shouldn't have thrown this one, I think. Not that the check down was open, but just can't throw it into coverage like that. I mean, there's like 5 guys down there. So just trying to understand what went wrong. And I don't know if anything necessarily went wrong. I think Dart just wanted to make a play and not the right time for it. Yeah, another quick pass. And on this one, he definitely did not see that safety in the middle of the field. The timing's good. We'll praise the timing here because as soon as that receiver breaks, that ball is coming out. But he's kind of staring this one down the whole time. He's always looking in this direction, reading this safety. Doesn't even recognize that this safety is sitting right here in the middle of the field waiting for a route like that to run into. So that ball is incomplete. It's kind of a medicine ball. I'm not going to lie. Definitely could have gotten his receiver whacked big time here. It's a catchable ball. It's accurate. It's in his hands. He should have caught it, but definitely need to be careful of the second defender reading this. Yes, there's definitely space to fit this in here in this window, but also have to recognize the safety's rotating, and that's a really tough ball. Alligator arms it, though. Definitely should have caught it. Receiver got a little scared. Heard the footsteps. Heard the footsteps indeed. Oh, dear. Yeah, let's not do that. That's what we call turnover worthy. When we're scrambling and we're just trying to make something happen, we're floating it up. Let's not Tyler Shuck that ball, all right? But anyway, I also think he misses a read here. It is 2 deep safeties. It is middle of the field open, and we do have a dig route, which is a deep in route break open over the middle. Yes, it would have taken a little bit of layering over a couple of defenders, but these defenders are being held by these receivers, so the play design actually works. Linebacker here, yes. But this is the window. You're not going to put it right over the linebacker. You don't want to throw it high for that safety, of course, but wide receivers running into this open space, and this linebacker is occupied by this route. So this ball could have been right down the hash, right there. I can't draw straight, and it could have been a first down. So I think he gave up on it. I really don't think the pressure was there either. I think pocket's still clean. He could have made that throw. I think the pressure's gotten to Dart now, I think is officially what's happened. Because, yeah, right here, this ball should be coming out. This receiver's breaking open. You can totally put this thing right down the line. And this is a clean pocket. So he is definitely, internal clock is going a little too fast from all the pressure that he's faced, and that's what's going on this play. This one I'm going to call, once again, a coverage sack. I do not think he had a guy. Yeah, LSU sitting on these. Call that one a coverage sack. All right, another little read option. Keeper up the middle. Does a good job not taking a big hit. Really do like the design of these runs from Ole Miss, that they're getting a lot of space for Dart. I just don't want to see him running between the tackles at the next level. Little inaccurate on that throw. Wonder what happened in the mechanics that caused that. Ball came out low. don't know. I think he just kind of short-armed it, feet a little tight together, a little stuck to the ground, short-armed it. Could have given a better throw and given some more yards. Another one of these up the middle, a big run too, and he's picking up extra yards. Really good run there. Dart is not afraid of contact. That much is for dang sure. Yeah, so I think what's happened now with these play calls, they were like, all right, our pass protection can't do a single thing. Let's run the ball. And so that's what Dart's doing. Weird time to take a shot here. I'm pretty sure they're only up by like 3 points or 6 points or something. It's late in the game now. Not a fan of taking this shot here from Jaxson Dart. I think this is way too over aggressive. We've got the line to gain here at the 14-yard line, and we have a receiver running who's quite open, and you hit him here on time. All he needs to do is fight for 2 yards after he catches the ball, and I'm going to let my receiver have the opportunity to do that. And I'm a little confused because it looks like he reads that this is jammed, so he goes away from it. But with that jammed and with this much space, I feel like he should know, oh, okay, this in breaker right here, this slant, hit that one and see if my guy could fall forward and get the first down. Totally looks at it, totally looks it off, but it's open. And then he takes, safety's held in the middle of the field. You've got a one-on-one shot here, and if you make this throw, you're the hero. But kind of sails it, throws it way too high. He's a little bit off his back foot again, speeding up his processor a little bit too much, and see he's kind of leaned back off his back foot and sails that thing. That should have been a first down and potentially icing the game. Instead, here we are, I think now in the dying embers of the game. See, that's a good throw. That should have been caught because this ball was thrown as this receiver's not even turned around. That's a pretty good throw with anticipation, in my opinion. Receiver's cover, but it's kind of like that curl that we were talking about earlier. And see, that was in his hands. He could have made that play for his quarterback. Receiver's covered, but, ball's out so fast, the corner shouldn't have a chance to make a play on it. But unfortunately, receiver doesn't make the play this time. So looks like it's the end of regulation, obviously with the prevent defense, and it's a Hail Mary. And, of course, the pass protection somehow does not hold up for him. Tough to see. I mean, running back just got walked backward. Got to make the play. I think Malik Neighbors makes that play. Really good back shoulder fade here. And once again, what we're seeing, single high safety. When you've got the single high safety looks, you know that you've got one-on-ones all across the board usually. And when you've got your receivers running go routes against these single high safety looks, you know that you have the whole sideline to work with. Throws this thing back shoulder. I actually think this receiver maybe, I don't know, they're pretty neck and neck. This one has a step, though. If he goes to the left side here and throws this ball, I do think that's an easy touchdown because this receiver completely beat his man and is gone. Like, that's a touchdown. Instead, this is kind of step with step, and when it's step with step, you're going to have to throw it back shoulder, which he does. Very accurate ball, very catchable ball, ultimately dropped. I'm very unfortunate to see. He does look the way of the left side, though, and that receiver won that route pretty quickly, so I wonder why he didn't pull that trigger. Maybe he just has a preference of throwing to the right side. Maybe it was the specific receiver he was throwing to. Not entirely sure. Maybe he just prefers to throw to that guy in those situations, but definitely think the left side would have been the right throw there, the left side receiver. And once again, we've got, I think, Dart holding onto the ball a little too long here and trying to be the hero and wait for this route to break open. Takes a hit as he's thrown, and unfortunately, ball falls incomplete because of that. Kind of walks up into that pressure too, takes a big hit, and throws it in double coverage. Another, I would say, turnover-worthy play, and a play that ball shouldn't have been thrown because, once again, we've got one of these clear outs and an underneath in. To be fair, I don't know the down and distance, but I know this is a guy that just dropped that pass, but, give it to him. Let him run into this, and this should be a pickup of about 6 yards at least. Looks like the yard to gain is there. Again, I don't know the down on this play. It's second down. Second down, I see it down here. So, yeah, this is second down. That should have been third and short because he could just hit the open guy. And again, it's just about reading. If they're all sitting here and this route's going here, that's a clear out route. You want to hit that in-breaking route underneath. let's say the receiver catches it, falls around the 30, and then you've got about 5 yards to go on third down. That's kind of what you're looking for. So I don't know, confused by the decision here. And once again, I just think the pressure really got to Dart in the second half of this game. I think he was really off his game. He was off time. He was a little jittery. And yeah, now it's third down. And now they got to go for the sticks. And that should have been picked off, really trying to make a play. Don't love these route designs either right now either. And yeah, I don't know. Nobody's open. He's trying to make a play, and there's just no play to be made. I feel like the offensive line really let Dart down on this game, but I also do think that this is a quarterback spy that he just ran into, and I don't know what exactly the Giants' new minicamp center was doing here, running away and just allowing this linebacker to crash down. Very interesting strategy by the center. But yeah, ultimately that's going to end it. Incompletion there from Jaxson Dart, and Ole Miss loses. But let's go ahead with some takeaways before we wrap this thing up. So yeah, main takeaways that I have from this game film: very accurate when throwing the ball deep, really good timing on a lot of those quick passing concepts. That was probably the number one thing that impressed me in this game. Just very quick to throw those short passes and get them there on time. Like there was a couple of those plays that a lesser quarterback is throwing in incompletion because they're going to be a tick behind. And Dar had some really good anticipation on some of these throws as well, but the negatives were pretty glaring in this game. They were pretty obvious. Once the pressure started to pile on and the offensive line proved that it wasn't going to be worth a damn in this game, it really got to Jaxson Dart, I feel, against LSU in this one. He was under pressure quite often, like significantly under duress throughout the majority of this game. In fact, I can get the stats on that too. He had 21 pressure dropbacks, which was the most that he faced all season long, but he did allow 28.6% of those pressures to be converted into 6 sacks. So most he was sacked all season, 6 sacks, but I think he was accountable for a good amount of those. His time to throw was 2.86, which isn't terrible, but generally speaking, he faced a lot of pressure, and I'm not sure that he necessarily handled it well. This was one of his uglier games on film and definitely one of his uglier performances under pressure. But LSU had a good football team this year, and they had pretty good defensive players out there. And Ole Miss's offensive line just didn't hold up in this one. So main takeaways, like I said, really good deep passing accuracy, really good timing on some of these short concepts. But sometimes he doesn't take those checkdowns when he should, doesn't really get through those first and second reads to get to that checkdown quickly enough sometimes. And then again, like I said, when that pressure came in and he really started to feel it, he really started to get jittery about it and ultimately threw some errant passes as a result. So definitely a lot to clean up for Jaxson Dart, but that's why he has an entire year under Brian Dable, Jameis Winston, and Russell Wilson to sit, learn, grow, and develop. And I'm really excited for that process. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to a preseason game this year without a doubt. I got to go see Jaxson Dart play, and I'm really excited for it to see the birth and the starting and the beginning of this development for Jaxson Dart. So really exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. And comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. Make sure you follow us on social media at Fireside Giants. Without further ado, I will catch you on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go New York Giants.